Hello, it is I. This is part 3 of season 1 of solo leveling. I've been keeping the previous parts in the boot of my Yaris if you missed them, but I can toss you the keys if you promise not to incite violence upon the roadways. Anyway, when we last left off, the felons surprise our homies with the ferocity of their moves. Jin-Woo also surprises the homies with the ferocity of his moves, causing Song-san to respectfully peep his thick aura. Taishik takes notes. Shortly after, the hunters encounter a split passageway and determine that they should divide into 3 groups for now. Jibi senses a powerful foe from the left, emanating its evil dust throughout the hallway. The partitions. However, Tamale remains suspicious. These two decide to make amends with Jin-Woo for their previous sin, hoping for his forgiveness. Meanwhile, Tibia remembers when he was hired to assassinate a group of scumbags who wronged this distressed widower. Their previous death flag is checked as the old guard stumbles upon Tibu's homicide tunnel. Jin Wowzer is in the middle of a flashback when screams beckon him to action. The trio rush to their party's aid, but find a sea of corpses where the homies used to be. The betrayer yet lives, however, his wounds run deep. He beckons them to flee, which only serves to enrage Jin-Woo. As a last-ditch effort to find fulfillment with his parting words, he apologizes, then returns to the soil. Taishik goes for the healer first, but finds that Jiggly is fast. Song-san attempts to lecture Kang-san for his numerous evils, and fails, so instead takes up his blade, ready to protect those he holds dear. Despite being a wizard, Song has skills with the sword, and with the help of Juhi's buff spell, brings forth a reasonable offense. This is short-lived, however, due to obvious differences in their given hunter powers. Hebe runs out of juice as Song releases a surprise blast right before his execution. It doesn't work, but Jin-Woo remembers that he is here too. Taishik uses this interaction to deduce that Jinpei experienced a second awakening. Regardless, he figures that he could take him in a fight. Jin-Woo confronts Tapestry about the senseless killing, but he just likes murder, so they turn into lasers and have at it. Song-san is shook. The duelists are matched in speed. Nonetheless, the system has taken notice of Taishik's threat, giving Jin-Woo some kind of spooky buff, I think. He lands a hit, but the investigator has a trick of his own. Which makes him undetectable. Jean-Woo struggles, placing a hibbity in the homie's hoppity. Their apprehension was misplaced, however, and Jin-Woo's emotions peace out, allowing him to track his opponent's bloodlust, freeze him in place, and instantly run him through. Taishik is fairly hardy, and monologues about survival of the fittest as he struggles to perish. They converse briefly about what even the heck Jin-Woo is, then Kang-san warns him about getting lost in the sauce and losing his psyche to the brutality of this world before withering away. Jin-Woo gets some cool loot, then reflects on his emotions disappearing as he becomes stronger. The homies thank him for his service, and he responds by going to solo the boss. Later, Jin-Chul is informed of this episode's shenanigans and meets up with the survivors, remembering Jin-Woo from the last time they met. He apologizes for the trouble Kang-san caused, and then asks who iced him. Song-san steps up to cover for Jin-Woo like a real one. Jin-Chul remains suspicious, but it is possible that a man like Song could accomplish such a feat. Even more later, BG shows Jingo the rock he bestowed upon her many moons ago. They walk together and discuss how the hunter lifestyle affects them psychologically. Jihu attributes her timidness as a hunter to instigating their original meeting and expresses her admiration for Jinwoo's stubborn resilience. She returns the stone, states that she is retiring, and hopes that they can have dinner together sometime. It's a solemn parting. Jin-Woo reflects on earlier when Jin-Chul warned him that Dong-Suk's Anarchy is coming for his supple bod. The law is powerless to deal with S-ranks, so Jibi best be careful going forward, even if he achieved a second awakening. This only motivates him though. Sometime after, Jinho gathered a group of miscreants to station themselves outside the dungeon while he and Jin-Woo clear it out. Gina's homie gets feisty with Jin-Woo, who doesn't notice, and instead ponders the sick new rock that Kang-san dropped. He squishes it and receives the skill, Stealth. Jinho shows up wearing an insect and is bullied by Jin-Woo. They get going after freeing him. Meanwhile, Jinner notices Song Yi's absence. An hour later, much faster than a regular strike team, the duo emerge, having defeated the boss, inciting a clamor of astonishment from their professional loiterers. Jin-Woo and company head off to clear several more dungeons, and a montage ensues. Jin-Woo stylistically obliterates a group of goblins, some lizards, and a few dogs, achieving multiple level ups in both his total and individual skill levels. He He also gets a couple new dagger skills. Jin-Ho harvests while Jin-Woo strategizes his statistical developments for the future in preparation for his visit to the demon castle. Suddenly, his computer informs him about a job change quest. Some gate accountants find that Jin-Ho has been spending millions buying up the rights to a buttload of C-rank dungeons. It is suspicious that his strike force is mainly composed of E-rank hunters, and this guy recognizes Jin-Woo's name from amongst them, smelling the suspicious smell of something suspicious. He believes that Jin-Woo has reawakened and points out all the coincidental evidence. The bold manager, An-san, goes to scout a promising rookie, finding a lax picnic. Song-yi accosts him for intruding, revealing that she is part of the strike team. More evidence acquired. Upon returning to the world of Japan, Jin-Woo requests a day off while someone eavesdrops. Choi-san has a visceral fever dream about Jeju Island, awakening in a cold sweat and clutching his battle plans. Later, Jin-Woo is approached by An Sang-min, manager of the White Tiger Guild's second administration team, who attempts to poach him for double the Yujin company's pay. Jin-Woo states that this would mean $60 billion, which sends An-san into despair. On another note, Jin-Woo questions him about his snooping, turning invisible for extra effect. This only makes An-san more aroused, but he recovers and states the truth, that only he and his subordinate are privy to Jin-Woo's information. After skirting death, he states that the lack of C-rank gates have bottlenecked rookie hunter developments within their guild. Jin-Woo understands and counters by offering to sell the gates Jin-Woo was holding for his day off. An-san falls right into Jin-Woo's art of the deal by accepting his absurd offer of $200 million per gate. Before parting, he force feeds An-san Kool-Aid like a dehydrated hamster, healing his negotiation kiss and sending him further into arousal. The next day, the exchange goes through and An-san finds that he was scammed. Jin-Woo sends a cheeky DM to insist that they're even now, which predictably makes An-san giddy with delight. There goes our hero, cruising to his job change in his crimson Jiwi Jeep. After finding an isolated area and ignoring his daily training, Jin-Woo opens the gate to his new quest, eager to indulge in the opportunity to achieve greater strength. Ominous Ornstein. The posh Yujins have a family reunion, while Jin-Woo finds he has no access to his potions
and lotions.
He encounters his first opponent shortly after, but its tempered exterior is difficult to pierce, so he opts to tear its head off instead. Meanwhile, the elder Yuge bro, Jin Sung, reports on the progress of his S-rank hunter acquisition mission, then heeds the young sprout to cease his secret operations. Jin Weiji encounters additional class archetypes and begins to alter his strategy to appropriately deal with each unique opponent. Choi-san greets a strike force of elite hunters prepared to load up the Huey. With a lull in the fighting, Jin-Woo hydrates, assesses his loot, equips some nifty invisible armor, and continues through this large ornate door. Something farts at him with intimidation. It is the lusciously locked Scarlet Knight, Igris the Blood Red. Jin-Woo is afeared. Nevertheless, the battle begins. Igor's is immensely powerful, as expected, giving Jibby a great deal of recalcitrance with the savagery of his strikes and lithesome moves. Jin-Woo is nervous, but decides that pugilism is the only way forward. Igris respectfully responds in kind. Chairman Gogurt gets a call from his homie Choi-san, who wanted to give thanks for allowing his Jeju Island expedition to reach the final stage. Jin-Woo gets terribly beat up and ponders his chances against such a fearsome foe. He goes fast to achieve his dreams, but is just thrown around again. After further battling, Jibby lands a kick and manages to enrage Igloo the Crimson. This damages Jin-Woo in surplus. Gina lovingly makes a meal for her precious Oni-san, while Ka-san beeps apathetically. Igris prepares the finishing blow, but Jin-Woo grapples his blade and goes for the eyeball. It's pretty effective, allowing him to keep the momentum, enter an aha dreamscape, and plunge his dagger into the knight's gullet. He reflects on his incredible luck at being able to best such a superior foe, then peruses the loot, obtaining a cool hat, a new skill rock, and a free hearthstone. He determines that the quest must not be over yet, and discovers this theory to be correct a couple seconds later. He is suddenly flooded by an onslaught of plebs. To buy time, Jin-Woo utilizes his stealth skill at the cost of his limited mana supply, but a wizard shatters his invisibility. With 5 minutes remaining and no victory in sight, Jin-Goober chooses to skedaddle, except he manages to lose his clonazepam again and is thrown around more. The knights engage, pitting Jin-Woo against their infinite numbers and activating his determination to fight till death. Song-san and Ji-Hoo's voices appear as an auditory hallucination, while he begins to falter, beckoning him to give up. Suddenly, a phantasm of Jin-Woo's past appears to psychologically harass him. Meanwhile, Gogagugni discusses the effect of Jeju Island's despair with his servant boy. Jin too is further harassed by Jin-Woo as he gets smushed by the knights. Before paying the ferryman, he fails his daily quest and is sucked once more into the Middle East, where he replenishes what he can before being forced into xenophobic violence against the citizens of Wormville. Gina is distressed to see that Jin-Woo hasn't partaken of his lavish dinner and goes to sleepy time. Jin-Woo dissects unfortunate citizens of the desert and purchases this spiky maul knife. With the remaining time, he squishes the Igris rock and acquires the ruler's hand, a telekinesis spell which costs no mana to use. Concurrently, the Choi Brigade arrives at Jeju and finds a floater in the sea. Jin-Woo's new blade works wonders for armor penetration, but something is amiss. It would seem the wizards are in charge of bringing forth the knights, so he changes targets, eliminating the various mages and everything in his path, including this big one, which he explodes using sheer willpower alone. Quest completed. After a brief analysis from his tablet, it gives him the job class of Necromancer, which is unexpected, but still pretty neat. Jin-Woo isn't so sure that his strength agility build fits with an intellect-focused archetype, but mulls it over some, and decides that since he has plenty more level ups to gain, having more abilities is more better in the long run. He accepts, receiving a multitude of bonus points and becoming a Shadow Monarch, the evolution of Necromancer. To test his new powers, he harnesses the shadows of the defeated and puts them in a special shadow pocket. Seeing that they are all differing ranks, the idea to resurrect Igris tickles his fancy. He attempts a couple of times, but fails. After negotiating with the corpse a little bit and offering the Hand of Freedom, Igris is returned to undeath and joins the ranks of Jin-Woo's army. In the after credits, Choi-san discovers that the creatures of Jeju Island are evolving, and that's the end of Season 1 of Solo Leveling. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed whatever this was, like, comment, or subscribe. I have a Patreon where you can fund these videos and feed my children. It's difficult to be a unicellular organism capable of self-reproduction in this day and age. Thanks again. Bye.